guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing very nice and I'm sending a lot of hugs and positivity to all you coochies out there. Hi, if you are new, welcome to the channel. I really hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please do consider subscribing. Today's video is one of my most favorite videos to film. I wish I could just make videos on this topic and live because of how close it is to my heart, and I'm so happy that you guys also love the video so much because then I get to make more of it. In today's video, I'm recommending 15 books, fiction and non-fiction, for teenagers, for young adults, the books that will entertain you, the books that will inspire you, the books that will teach you things that you will not learn in school but you do need in your life. My own teenage phase has actually created the kind of person that I am. I am so deeply connected to my teenage self. And books like these are the books that I wish I read as a teenager. It's so annoying to not get that acknowledgement that you're just done being a child and you're just growing up and everything is confusing, which is why I am here to tell you that I love you, I do acknowledge you, I do understand all the phases that you are going through. I may not relate with you because times have changed and I'm going to turn 24 in June. How did that even happen? I don't know. But I see you and I love you. I love you more than you can know, which is why no matter what video I am making, I talk about whether those books are meant for teenagers or not. I try to make videos that will help you during your teenage, and that is why I'm making a dedicated video to you guys today, so that you know that I'm there with you even if I am not physically present. Let's start with the non-fiction books first. I only have 2 non-fiction books for you guys, and trust me, these are the only 2 non-fiction books you need. They are such all-rounders that I did not have to include any other book. And the first book is Growing Beyond the Syllabus by Lokik M. Chadbar. He wrote this book when he was a teenager, and this book encapsulates everything that I have just talked about, everything that I talk about on the channel about teenagers within one book. Lokik has gone through his own journey of being a teenager, and he has seen the ups and downs of being a teenager, and he realized that there are things that you need to learn that are not included in your syllabus, which is why this book, Growing Beyond the Syllabus, will let you know what are the skills, what are the things you need to know that you need to learn beyond your syllabus, beyond your school, beyond what you can see right now. It is so relatable that even if I am not a teenager, I feel like if I found this book when I was a teenager, I would have been a much happier teenager. It talks about every single important part of life: communication, motivation, purpose, money, how to deal with the pressure that you feel within yourself, how to deal with the pressure from the outside world, and how at the end of the day, if you're ready to use your teenage years as the foundation years and you realize that it is actually going to dictate so much of your life, at least like your 20s, then your teenage can be the best time of your life. It's very simple, very easy to read. I love the structure of the book. I also love how witty and sarcastic it gets sometimes. That is like the teenage touch in the book, and trust me, you're gonna feel like you have a friend as soon as you pick up this book. Next, we have Visionary Thinking by Ashish Jaiswal. Teenage is the time when you have the option to broaden your mind towards everything, all the possibilities of the world, and you can choose whoever you want to be. I know for a fact that during that time we feel this intense pressure to already decide who we want to be in the future, make big decisions and dictate our entire life, and sometimes that puts us in a closed box, which is where this book comes into play. Visionary thinking can be done in the best way possible when you are a teenager because you have that time and those options to yourself, and this book will help you to get out of that box of, oh, I have to make all the decisions right now, or oh, I have only these options in front of me right now, otherwise I can't achieve anything or I can't be anything. All of these options, especially with social media, and you get to see, like with reels, within 15 minutes all the 20 kind of lives that you can live, it becomes really overwhelming sometimes, which is where the practical steps from this book come into play, the structures come into play. It will help you to stay focused on your purpose, understand what your purpose is, and build a vision on the basis of that. When you learn this technique of building a vision, even though you don't have to make choices, the system itself is going to help you in your teenage years, and after learning that, when you are in your 20s, it's going to be much easier for you to decide what you want to do in the years ahead. Please remember that with both the books, you do not have to rush at all. Teenage is the time to take it slow, take it one day at a time and learn whatever you can and learn the kind of person you are. And when you build that foundation of the kind of person you are, when you're in your 20s, it will become easier for you to take action. My generation, when we were teenagers, we have grown up and now only we are realizing what it is to find yourself, what it is like to understand who you are and then make decisions on the basis of that. You get the chance to explore yourself in your teenage years so that when you come into your 20s, you can straight away start on the action. With that, we have the non-fiction books out of the way and next comes the fiction books. The first book, I recently finished it and I cried my eyes out and it was all tears of joy and the warmth of heart, and you have to read this book. I don't care what you're doing, even if actually you're an adult watching this video, you have to read. Oh, you already saw the book. Have to read the book. And the book is The Boy at the Back of the Class by Anchal Rani. I really hope I'm taking the name right. This is the story of the boy at the back of the class, Ahmed, who has come to the school after facing a war. The narrator of the book, Alexa, sees that, oh, there is a guy at the back of the class, but he does not talk, he does not smile, he does not do anything, and all she wants to do is make him smile, especially after when she comes to know that, oh, he has been facing wars. Alexa and the other 3 friends she has, 4 of them together, decide to surprise Ahmed in a way that will make him smile and happy, and that is all I can say. But when you're reading the book, it is written from a perspective of a 9-year-old. As teenagers or even adults, I think we forget that innocence and that happiness that we get when we are children because we start to face the reality of the world, and this book will actually remind you what it is like to have a child's heart again, and that is so important. It is so important to keep that child's heart alive. You actually learn lessons from children the way adults can never ever teach you, okay? Like after reading this book, my own faith from being an adult is actually like being lifted. I'm growing into an adult, and the one promise I made after reading this book to myself is that I will always keep that child's heart alive because that is what makes you human. Next, we have a magical ride, and that is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is the story of a city that has to give away one child to a witch, otherwise they have to face the wrath of the witch. On the other hand, you come to know that the witch actually thinks that the child has been abandoned, so she doesn't do anything bad with the child. She takes the child and gives it to someone who needs a child so that they can be taken care of. One day she is taking such a girl child, but she is enchanted by the beauty of the child, and instead of feeding the child star juice to keep her full and happy, she feeds her moon juice. That is how Luna, the little girl, is in magic, and now she is full of magic and full of powers. And in the beginning, the witch itself does not know what to do with it, but then she adopts her as her own granddaughter to take care of her. If you tend to be a lot in your head, if you tend to be like faced with utter reality all the time, then you definitely need to read this book. Yes, it sucks sometimes, yes, people suck sometimes, and there are sucky characters in this book also, but it is also beautiful and it is also magical, and this book will remind you of that. Next is It's All Your Fault by Paul Rudnick. I read this book so long back and it's still alive in my heart. This is the story of Caitlin and Hella. Caitlin is a goody good girl. She fits the picture of what she thinks a good girl is according to her environment, and she does anything there is in the world to be a good girl, whereas Hella is actually hell. Her name originates from hell, Hella, and she is the complete opposite of Caitlin, but then they are forced to be together because Hella is going through some difficulties. Hella is a child actor and Caitlin is supposed to keep her online. Caitlin is supposed to make sure that Hella does nothing stupid, nothing wrong, because the project that Hella is working on is so huge that nothing can go wrong. So much drama, all the tension you get to see between siblings, even though they're not direct siblings, and it's just so much fun to read, you guys. I mean, all of the fights that they have, all of the thoughts that Caitlin has, it's so enjoyable. It is a crazy wild ride and it is a must read. Oh, I love this book. After that super duper dramatic and funny book, we have Begin Again by Emma Lord. This is the story of Andy, who is grieving her mother, and all she wants to do is follow her in her footsteps. She wants to be the legacy. She wants to continue the legacy of her mother, and so she wants to go to the same school that her mother went into. Not just that, her boyfriend Connor is also there in that school, so she wants to go over there and stay with him because long distance is not really working out. But once she goes over there, Connor is not there only. She is not able to fit into the place, and it's not as easy as she thought it would be. That is when she meets other people in the school who make her feel like she is at home, one of them being Milo, and you see her journey. But not just that, you also get to see the journey of all the other characters. This book reminded me of Mismatched if you have watched it on Netflix, where you get to see the perspective of every character. There is no side character. Each character is leading their own life and getting their own arc. You don't get into the head of all the characters in this book. The narrator is only Andy, but every character does get that sort of importance. The whole philosophy of begin again and seeing all of these characters go through all of these journeys is utterly inspiring, and I loved the book for that. So if you want a heartfelt, emotional, tender, vulnerable book of various characters and like sort of a romance book, then this is your book and you're gonna love it. Next we have the second part of Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which is Aristotle and Dante dive into the waters of the world. I have recommended, and so many of you have read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and you have loved it. Now you are going to love this too, because I loved it so much. Now this is definitely not as light-hearted as the first book was, even though the first book was not even that light-hearted. So what I mean to say is that this one is actually a very heavy read. Things get intense in this book. The first book was all about them finding each other and falling in love with each other, but this book is all about them staying together and facing all of the difficulties that come with staying together, especially in a time where two boys being together in love was not normal at all. With that intensity though comes so many more feelings, and the relationship of Aristotle and Dante is so much more deepened. Characters are so different from the first book. You see Aristotle being all shy and does not want to come in front of people in the first book, but then you see how love has changed him. It's so beautiful. I love it. Next we have Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. Yeah, that's definitely not how you take the name. This is the story of a 9-year-old Oscar who recently lost his father, and he does not know how to deal with it. So he just goes to his dad's room to touch all of his dad's things and feel like his dad is still around him. Then he finds a key, and he just knows that his dad has left it for him, because him and his dad used to go on these adventures where Oscar had to find things. So Oscar decides that his dad has actually left him the last adventure even after his death, and he goes on the journey to figure out what that key opens. So many locks in New York City, and he wants to discover what that key opens. It is a beautiful, adventurous read. I went into the book thinking, oh, it's going to be so thrilling. Thriller from the perspective of a 9-year-old, that's so much fun. I completely missed that his dad is dead, so it will probably be sad also. His character arc, again, it's so inspiring and it's so beautiful, and even if I think about it right now, like my heart is literally clutching right now. It's that tender. There are parts of the history of Oscar's grandmother in the middle that may be a little boring for you. I mean, I don't know if it'll be for you. It was for me, but if you do push through it, you will love it. The next book is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is the story of Matteo and Rufus, who get a call in the night at midnight saying that, oh, you are going to die today. Because that is what happens in this world. You get the call at midnight on the day when you're going to die that you have 24 hours to live. So you get prepared to die, and that is why you know already from the title that they both die at the end, because there is no way around it. But Matteo and Rufus both have to get out of their comfort zone because they only have 24 hours to live, and that is how they meet each other, and you see how they spend their 24 hours together. Friendship, companionship, love. There is barely any romance, but all of these feelings are there, and it is beautiful to read what they do. It's very light-hearted even though you know the end, and when I was reading it, I mean, you read it and you're like, you know what the ending is, but all of the things that they do together is just so nice, and all of the characters you get to read about is just so cool, and it's from different perspectives. You get into the head of all people that you forget that they die in the end. And so when they died in the end, I was still shocked, like, oh my god, how did that happen? Definitely definitely a beautiful journey, a beautiful book to read. Next up we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. You guys have to read this book. It's going to be one of the best things you do for yourself. It is a rom-com, and unlike so many books where so much tragedy happens, this book has no ounce of tragedy, of darkness, of negativity, of toxicity. It is a fluffy, nice, warm hug to you, and you just want to stay in this world, you know. So if you want a comforting book, then this is your book. This is the story of Liz, who is trying to get over the death of her mother. Rom-coms is one of the things that she holds on to because that is the one thing that her and her mother shared, one of many things, and so she holds rom-coms very close to her heart. And so you can imagine how cheesy she is. And at the same time, her childhood crush Michael's comes to school again, and she's like, oh my god, this is fate, I have to get together with him. And you see what happens after that. So beautiful, so amazing, so heartwarming. I have no more adjectives for how cute it is. It is super cheesy and you're gonna love it. Next we have A Man Called Avi by Frederick Backman. Please do read the trigger warnings for this. Read the trigger warnings for all the books actually. This is the story of a man called Avi, and that is it. He has lost his wife. He does not like the world without his wife. Now he is a grumpy old man who doesn't like anything in the world. While he is the grumpiest man on earth, he gets new neighbors who sort of push him out of that world of grumpiness, and you see what happens after that. That is all I can tell you, but it's so cute. This book is so cute. It is sad, but it's so cute. There is a new movie also, A Man Called Otto. I am telling you, I cried for like 2 hours straight, like not bawling, but my eyes were always teary, and that is exactly what happened when I was reading the book also. Now I would obviously recommend that you read the book, but if you're not going to read the book, you can watch the movie also because the movie was amazingly executed. This one is very slow, so you are not going to read the book for the thrill. You are not going to read the book because you want to get done with the book. You are not going to read the book for like a plot of lifetime. You are going to read the book for the character of Avi and how he goes through things, and it will be one of the best books you read in your entire life. I never say that you should be basing the kind of love that you get in your life on the basis of books, and you shouldn't, because it's fiction. It's fiction for a reason. But when you read the book, the feeling that you get, that warmth, those feelings are what matter in life, and that you get to know when you're reading this book from the perspective of an old man. Next we have Only the First Book of The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. If you want to read a thriller, I am not going to recommend the other 2 books. This is the story of Pippa, who picks up on a closed case of Andy Bell. Andy Bell is dead. She died 5 years ago, and we already know who the murderer is, and that is Sal Singh. But Pippa does not believe that Sal Singh can be a murderer, so she reopens this case. You see the journey of Pippa, who is nothing but a 17-year-old. She's not nothing, she's actually the best character in the world. How disciplined she is, and you see her journey through the murder to find out what the actual truth is. Next is Paper Towns by John Green. I think I always have a John Green book in my teenager recommendation videos. John Green writes about that confusing, difficult part of being a teenager and how messy it gets in your head. And I don't know who else writes about the messiness of being a teenager like John Green, and that is what this book is like. Quentin has a crush on Margot, and Margot is like this mysterious character and like going through life or whatever, till one day when she comes into his house and she's like, you know what, we have to go out and take some revenge. And then they go out and they take some revenge, and now Quentin is like, oh, next day onwards she's not just going to be my crush, she's going to be my friend. But next day Margot is not there at all. Quentin goes on a journey to figure out who Margot is and where she is. The story sounds a little dramatic, but when you read the book, it is not. It is full of metaphors, and I would say this is one of my favorite books by John Green. I do love Turtles All the Way Down. That is like the top tier John Green book for me, but this is definitely number 2, or alongside Turtles All the Way Down. Like metaphorical but simple writing, you will love this book. If you think that the world and social media is like way too pretentious, you will love this book. If you feel lost in your life, you should read this. You will love this book because it's also like a self-discovery journey of Quentin. If you just want a comforting read that will make you question, that will make you think, then this is your book. It's one of my most favorite books ever. Next we have Almond by Won Young Son. This is the story of a 12-year-old who is born with alexithymia, which is a condition where you are not able to feel or express any feelings or emotions, and he's living his life with his mother and his grandmother. But one day something so tragic happens and he sees it happening, but he has no feelings or emotions and he can't express anything, and then you see him go through life. It's one literally one of the most beautiful books I've ever read in my entire life. I really wanted to highlight the entire book because of how beautifully it is written and how simple it is to read. So it's great for you if you're a teenager. And the reason I think this book is so important you read in your teenage is because this is the one book that appreciates ordinary life in the best way possible, that appreciates simplicity in the best way possible. I literally got it for the concept and the cover, but the words, they're still alive in my heart. Like, there is this one quote about being ordinary, and my life is dictated by that at this point. Last but not the least, we have Yes, No, Maybe So. Please tell me you saw this book coming. This is another romance. It's a story of Jamie and Maya. Jamie, who is a very shy person even if he has really big dreams, and then we have Maya, who is going through the divorce of her parents. She hates change, but she has to deal with it, and they cross each other's path and they have to canvas for an election, which is why we have all of the doors on the cover. I have recommended this so many times that it's insane at this point. I wanted to recommend it in the beginner friendly video also, but I think I would recommend it in every video I have recently made after reading the book, which is why I did not recommend it in that video. But it's just so good that you have to read it, especially as a teenager. Oh my god, the emotions, the romance, it's so cute and it's so tender. Again, it's so deep, it's so heartwarming. And with that, we come towards the end of the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and you got at least one recommendation out of it. Make sure you are buying non-fiction also along with the fiction books, and make sure you're studying also. I don't want parents to come and tell me that you're not studying, but make sure you're reading these books also and you're helping yourself to get out of the room or the world that you live in, because the world is a big place and you come to know when you're reading these books. I'll see you guys very soon again. I am actually in the middle of filming a readathon right now, so I'll see you over there. Bye.